Ali Velshi did a piece on private prisons. And what's interesting is while it's an important piece, it also parallels our healthcare insurance system or healthcare system in general. I want you to listen to this and then let's take it on the other side.
This week, President Joe Biden signed an executive order phasing out the federal government's use of privatized prisons. It instructs the Justice Department not to renew contracts with privately operated prisons, a policy that was first implemented under President Obama and then reversed in 2017 by Trump. Private prisons are a stupid, amoral idea. The United States is the most prolific incarcerator on the planet. It's been that way for decades, through Democratic presidents, Republican presidents, and Democrats again. 2018 figures show the U.S. ranks #1 when it comes to the total number of incarcerated people. It has roughly 300,000 more people that have been sentenced to prison than China does, which has literally 1 billion people more in population. But that's raw numbers. What about as a percentage of the population? America for the win again, with the highest rate of incarceration in the world, a great deal higher than the next country on the list, El Salvador. Our prison system became so overwhelmed, partly due to misguided federal initiatives like the war on drugs in the 80s and the 1994 crime bill, that it was forced to outsource help. In an effort to manage the rising prison population, around 2006, the Bureau began contracting with privately operated correctional institutions to confine some federal inmates. In 2017, U.S. private prisons incarcerated nearly 122,000 people, representing 8.2% of the total state and federal prison population. And private doesn't mean cheaper or better. In fact, private prisons are more dangerous than government-run prisons. A damning report from the Justice Department's Inspector General released in 2016 found that federal private prisons were much more violent and a lot less secure than publicly federally run facilities. Last week, I noted that there are two sides to some issues, and this is one of them. Private prisons should not exist. In economics, it's what we call a perverse incentive. Private prisons thrive when there are lots of people incarcerated, which is the opposite of what society's goals are. Some conservatives argue that anything the government can do, the private sector can do better. In this case, the argument is nonsense as it relates to incarceration. We can and should do better, but we do not have to sustain a profit motive with private shareholders making money off of imprisoned Americans to achieve those goals. America, as we have seen in the last 8 months, needs a complete overhaul of its justice system, from policing to the judicial system to sentencing and rehabilitation. Ending private prisons won't solve the problem, but it is a start.
Absolutely so. It won't solve the problem, but it's a start. But look, I wanted to bring that piece on private prisons, how Ali Velshi did an excellent job in showing how you have a perverse reason for incarcerating more people. That's a perverse effect. But the same applies to healthcare. Isn't it true that if healthcare, if the insurance is for profit, is all this healthcare is for profit, that they want to give you more of it? Isn't it a fact then that if they want to give you more of it and it's not there, they are going to increase the price on you? That is the reason we are in the dilemma. If you consider healthcare just like you see a regular product, you want, when I sold a product, I want to maximize the amount of money I can make from that product. It's what one does too. You know, you make a product, you want to make some money. Well, if you have healthcare in that same type of market, what are you going to do when a person comes in for health care? You're going to want to give that person as many tests as possible. You would want to find them as sick as possible because it's a perverse reason for gaining a profit. It's not rocket science. Why public funded Medicare for all is the best answer to any kind of health care. And also given that the government is the one that pretty much starts most drugs, research that then is used by the private sector to profit on your behalf, that something needs to be done with regulations and control. It is that simple. It is math. In a for-profit capitalist society, there are certain parts of our society that does not belong in that realm. Why? Because if it's for profit, the profit becomes perverse on you. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.